Namaste. Good morning. Namaste. Welcome. Thank you for joining in on this beautiful Sunday morning, wherever you're joining in from. Hi, Vinita. You're muted, Vinita.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And it's such a wonderful day and evening, since we all are also practicing a gratitude journal. So having a new day itself is the biggest blessing, I guess. And for all those who are, wondering why are we, continuing with our Shakti conversations and all, I think we've got a lot of engagement from people, a lot of questions wherein they are talking about what exactly is the feminine energy? Is it present in everybody, male and female equally? Or also, there have been some questions people asking Divi about boundaries, and it's a very overwhelming thing when they say, how do we embrace feminine energy and power, and how do we experience it? And in case if we have to speak out, how much it is okay to speak out in case if it is something that has been lying dormant. So this whole conversation, which we have been talking about for last 2, 3 weeks, and of course starting from our Navratra days, so it's extremely potent energy, and I would request everybody, as as our mentor guides us, that Shiva and Shakti is present in each one of us, and how we embrace that energy to create a harmony, not just in our surroundings, but within ourselves to begin with, is where we have to start with. So the first, the I already have some people who've written to me. So they've been. I don't know how you would want to really take this up. There are some personal questions as well, and also they have been talking about. Despite we know that there is a lot of energy, to say that the power that rests within us, but how do we start? In case if we have been lying dormant or because of the conditioning that we've not been able to speak up for ourselves, how do we do it? And there's a question, the same kind of a question has come from a male also and a female also.
Yeah.
Over to you.
So, yeah, really the male female doesn't bother me because that is not what is
Yeah,
important here. And we only say that because, usually the conditioned way is that women have not been speaking up, particularly in the past generations, though now I feel it is very, very different. And I don't want this to really be a gender-based discussion
correct.
because that's not really true. I know there are a lot of men also who feel suppressed and are not able to express. In fact, when we learn about energy healing, it's very sad because men are actually taught to suppress their emotions more than women. It's okay for a girl to cry, but if a boy is crying, it's like, come on, don't cry like a girl. So he's absolutely shunned down, and if he cries, then it's like a hit on his masculinity, that he's not like male enough to deal with whatever life is offering him, and so he's not to feel those emotions, which is absolutely wrong. Men feel the same way as women feel. There's no difference. And yes, we women are lucky because we have a kind of, acceptance from childhood that it's okay to share and speak. And especially now we have, like, our friends and our girlfriends who we just take off, reach out and take off for a holiday, or we reach out and we share and we discuss what we want to, what we are feeling bad about, or even if it is just to vent without any judgment. We usually have those kind of groups, but I feel that men need it equally, if not more, because a lot of times the aggression, when people come to me for healing, and those men, the aggression or the suffocation that they are holding within because of not being able to acknowledge their emotions and connect to their emotions, has really bottled them up. And then on top of that, there is this further hit that you cannot speak or you cannot express because you're not meant to feel those emotions. They shouldn't disturb you, they shouldn't hurt you. That's really being unfair, isn't it? That's really being unfair. So I would say I'm not really looking at men or women. I'm just looking at a space from where we all have a power within us. We all have, like you mentioned, the Shiva and the Shakti. And you asked me that how do we start? From where do we start? Because a lot of times it's not that it's dormant. We are aware that we can speak, but due to the conditioned ways of being, or due to the way we have been taught to live, it's not good to connect to that part. For girls, we've always been told, don't speak, just follow what you're being guided to. I know that was a different era, but a lot of women in general, in the general society, also have that conditioning till you really come to a point and you're ready to break through that, isn't it? So, firstly, recognize that power within you. Firstly, recognize that power within you. And that is the first step in honoring yourself, in honoring your own power. Now, when I say power, and that's why the words that came onto this poster, which was just so beautiful, thank you, Srishti and Tanvi, for making that. And thank you, Vinita, for suggesting, as we were going and we needed to now go deeper into the roots of this discussion, for suggesting these topics. The first thing that we need to look at is that we need to understand that we as an individual, as a person, do exist, isn't it? First, acknowledge your presence. Like I even say in my Reiki seminars, and most of you must have heard it, that we want respect from outside. But am I respecting myself? Am I honoring myself? Am I even showing my existence beyond just a person who's providing for everybody in the house in terms of doing things for everything? Or am I honoring myself by saying that, yes, I exist, I have opinions, I have views, I have choices, and I have all the right to voice them and to exercise them? And the biggest thing, whether it is male or female, is not it's not important to enforce them. It's not important to enforce them. Don't think that if you have a choice, only if the whole family agrees to it, then then you are heard. That's not true. Express your choice, say what you want to, make yourself, you know, connect to your existence. If there are 4 people in a family or 6 people in a family, even if it is a helper in the house, each one has their own individual place, isn't it? Even if there is someone who's elderly and is sick, is bedridden, doesn't really participate in the house, but his or her existence in the house is still there. And that
Correct.
is very, very important. So, firstly, know that you have an existence, you have a place in your house. Now, usually, again, please don't take me wrong, I'm not really talking about in every household it is different, in every generation it is different. But usually, women of my generation, when I say that, usually women exercise their existence by doing, by providing the form of, having everything laid out for the partner, for the parents, for the children, so that if you are missing, that part of the work or the household is missing, isn't it? That's how we've been. And we always feel that, oh, I need to put myself forward and I need to have all the things ready for the people, because that is my duty, or that is my role, that is my existence, isn't it? I remember telling a couple of friends about 10, 12 years back, when even I was probably not so aware of my spiritual journey or this path, that we must always have something of our own interest in our life. We must always have something of our own personal interest, even if it is something like just enjoying gardening, or going for my walk, or connecting to a yoga group or a chanting group, or anything which is what I look forward to as doing for myself. And I feel, for me in my life, this present generation, like my daughter, her friends, when I look at them, I see a whole different life that they are living. And previously, maybe it was difficult for us to accept. But now, when we look at it, I feel there's nothing wrong, because they're not doing it from a point of being selfish. They're not doing things that they used to do from a point of being selfish. They're just doing it because they want to live from a more expanded space. And we all wanted to do that, isn't it? We still want to do that, but we hold ourselves back because of fear of external judgment, because of fear of external judgment, or people, like talking about you, and all external influences, nothing to do with your own self. But if you are comfortable with saying or doing what you're doing, then there is nothing wrong in it. There is really nothing wrong in it. At the end of the day, if you can look at yourself and you are okay with, you can look at yourself in the mirror and say that it's okay, because ultimately you're only answerable to yourself or answerable to God, isn't it? And I don't mean that we need to connect to this feminine energy and be aggressive and outspoken and all. Not at all. In fact, that's why the words on the poster were embrace. So it's like connect, say what you want to, do what you want to, but with love. That's the feminine energy. The strongest energy that we are now trying to connect to is the energy of love that we all hold within us. We all hold within us. Each one of us holds within us. And usually the way is that, yeah, if I'm very soft and loving, then people will take advantage of me, or I will not be looked upon as so serious. But that's really not true. That's the power of love, the vibration of love is really very, very strong. And a lot of times when you want to say something or you want to convey something and you're saying it by shouting or speaking or being aggressive, it's only because you're not confident in what you're saying and you want to be heard by shouting and shouting out loud. But that's not true, and you will never be heard when you're shouting. You will never be heard. It's like you can scare a small child by shouting, because the volume is so high and the child will immediately get scared, and so may the other person. But it is not that you are hurt. Are you shouting just to scare the other person, to bring in fear and to show that I am stronger, or are you shouting to be heard? You'll never be heard when you're shouting. And usually, what happens when we are shouting? It's like one person is shouting from here, one person is shouting from here, and it's just like a match happening. One throwing from here, one throwing from the other end, and you're not really listening to the other person. So, if you really want to use that energy and that power within you at that time, in the midst of a confrontation, an argument, or a fight, stop, hold yourself, breathe, use that energy to just hold yourself strong at that moment. There's no need to rush into speaking and arguing and defending. Use that energy to connect to your strength within and be silent. And that is self preservation. And then at a later point, when the other person is in a space where he or she is open to hearing, speak then. And you all have that energy within you. And don't think that because you kept quiet or you were silent, that you have failed or you have given in. That's not true. I mean, even to give in is okay. What is wrong in it if it brings peace and harmony, not at the cost of your own self respect? you know it's okay to say that, yeah, I think your opinion also matters, or your opinion, I'm hearing your opinion, let me reflect on it. Maybe I don't understand, but there is some value in what you're saying. So say that, but first be grounded and gather yourself. If you and the anger become one, or you get consumed in that anger or that argument, then there is absolutely all that energy that you have is just going to be dissipated. Does that make sense?
Dee, I have a question here.
Go ahead, Vinita.
Uh, So you just now said that, okay, and which has been a conditioning for years that if there is an argument or there is something that we are not agreeing to internally on a particular topic or whatever is happening at home, so the conditioning is that to create a harmony, just stay quiet, So unfortunately, there is a very fine line that goes between, being conditioned and keeping your mouth shut for the sake of the harmony. And one is that, coming out of it and speaking at a later stage. Most of the households and the people I've seen, a lot of is happening. And even the younger generation, some of them, because of the mindset or however they've been brought up, it is that they are trained to be quiet. So where does one come out of that and start talking what do they want? Because one or two people had actually connected earlier also with us after while we are doing. So the first thing is दीदी बोलना बहुत मुश्किल होता है for those who are not been able to talk or they've been taught कि to talk is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand. So, first, going back to where you started and saying that you just keep quiet at that moment, to bring in harmony and peace. But where is it right or wrong is how you are feeling about it. If you're not speaking outside and you're burning inside, it's better to speak it out and burn yourself inside. And yes, it may create a disharmony, but if you really believe that that thing will not be harming anybody, then it will not bring anything outside. It will not bring any kind of a discomfort outside. But yes, there you have to use sensitivity. And actually my whole focus, or this whole discussion that we are saying, is that energy and the force that you have within you can use it to just settle down your own energy. Is it important for you to be proven right at that point, or is it important at that time to be bringing in peace, or to be peaceful? And once you are peaceful and you speak from a space of being grounded and centered, and you truly believe in what you want to say, and you know that saying that will only benefit the other person, by all means say it. But not when you are caught in that anger, not when you don't have control over what you're saying. Use the energy to ground yourself and control yourself, and then speak. And that may not be at that moment. Let the other person, and what part of you is telling you to speak up and retaliate at that point? It's only your egoic point that, come on, listen to me, I'm saying something, isn't it? That's the energy that we come across with. But is it really important to enforce and make the other person say, yes, yes, you are right? Is that your motive? Or is it that the other person should hear you, absorb you, reflect on it, and then act if they choose to? But if you are shouting and telling the other person, don't shout, there is no difference. That's the simplest way of saying what I want to say. Right? So use that energy and the power that you have within yourself to first be confident in what you're saying. If you're confident, it will not bother you whether, I mean, you might say that, yeah, I see the other person, going down the drain and ruining their life. Sometimes when you see your dear ones getting into forms of addiction, or, certain things, and you're trying to sort of want them to understand that it's really harming you, it's not good for your health. You can't say it in an angry and an aggressive way. I'm just taking a very general example. You can't say it when you're caught up in that. It's as simple, like even children, it's your body language that you have to first sort of align with and control, and get focused with, and then speak. And yes, like you said, Vinita, that you've been told it's not good to speak. You've been told. That's conditioning, isn't it? Because why? Because it's been a patriarchal society or whatever. I again don't want to go into that. But it's very different now. You see everything in the world. There would be more women who are rising up in every field. And I just don't mean in jobs and and everything. And you were told that at one point in your life, when women were not financially independent, and speaking up against, say, men or elders in the house was taken as bad upbringing, or not being good. But again, how is it that you're saying what you're saying? What is the energy with which you're coming in to say what you're saying is very important, isn't it? And now it's very different. So if you've never spoken up and now you have a fear of speaking up, first work on building up your own confidence and your self-esteem. And firstly, clearing that belief that it's okay to say what you want to say. I always give this example in my Reiki seminars. Now, if someone asks you, okay, it's your birthday, or your family asks you, where do you want to go for dinner? And you'll say, I'll go where the husband wants to go, where my children want to go, where my parents want to go, right? Or wherever the friends choose to go. And then when you're taken to that restaurant, you say, but I didn't feel like eating North Indian food today. I just wanted to eat some Chinese. Then why didn't you voice it? And it might seem very stupid, because when it's like, okay, you tell your servant, or they ask you, what do you want to eat? You say, kuch bhi bana do. And then when they serve you, you say, what is this? I didn't want to eat this. So then be specific. It seems that it's so stupid and trivial, but that's really honoring yourself. Say, I choose to eat. I would love to eat Chinese today. It's my birthday. I would love to go to a nice Chinese restaurant. And then everybody would say, no, we ate yesterday. I don't feel like eating today. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll go another day. Let's go where you want to go. But at least you voiced what you wanted to say. You respected. You had a choice, isn't it? It's a simple thing. If people keep asking you in your house every time and you say, no, no, it doesn't matter, your choice, after a point, nobody's going to ask you, because they'll say she doesn't have a choice. She doesn't have an identity. She doesn't have anything to say. And then we feel, oh, we are not asked, or we are not honored, or we are not respected. Nobody takes my opinion. So voice your opinion, isn't it? And it might be difficult in the beginning, because you will feel, oh, suddenly, like people say, oh, she started speaking up for herself, or she's asking for something that, it's her right, or she's feeling that way. That means You're feeling deserving enough, only then you're asking for it, isn't it? If you feel that you don't exist or you don't deserve it, then you will never ask for it. But if you say, no, no, of course, I deserve it and I want to, I wish to or do this, then it's like, yes, she has a voice, she has an existence, and she feels deserving of it. But before she feels, anybody outside says that, you have to feel deserving of it. You have to give yourself permission. You have to give yourself authority to be able to exercise and ask for what you want, isn't it? And what is wrong in that? What is wrong in that? If it is not harming anybody, if you're doing all the things that you're meant to do, what is wrong in that? You see the generation of today, they work hard, but they party hard, isn't it? And for our generation, it was all about work, 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 right? And whatever you might have heard, all work and no play, it makes Jack a dull boy or whatever, it just doesn't matter, because there was no thought of play. It was work and do your duty, and that's it. Because it was not the way to be. Yes, Rachna, go ahead.
We're talking about adults. I just had a question regarding kids also. Nowadays, when kids voice their opinion, it is taken as, that you're a child. So you're not supposed to speak up, even though they speak up their feelings. But we as grown-ups, we as adults feel that if they start speaking up, then it is out of respect. It is disrespect towards their parents. So how do we deal with that?
Well, I would not agree to that to some extent, because the correction then has to be with the parents and not with the child. Because if what we have to teach the child is that the behavior or the way that they are speaking, and not what they are speaking, right? Nowadays, the generations are very entitled, by the way. They don't feel that they need to ask also, because they feel, yeah, it's just how it's supposed to be. I feel like doing this, so I did it. I mean, what is there to ask and do? So when they express their opinion, even if they are the younger generation, teach them to just speak with respect and listen to them. A lot of times we as parents are making mistakes because we don't listen to our parents. Sorry, don't listen to our children. And also we, that whole thing, concept of listening is not there. And especially I can say that because being in the part of healing, I don't even need to speak or say anything if a person is sharing something with me, because just by giving that time of listening heals the other person. So in the same way, if a child is expressing something, what you need to focus on is that he or she doesn't need to fight to say what they have to say. They can say it in a more gentler and in a more loving way, and respect what they are saying. Hear them, give them a hearing, give them a hearing ear, if I may say, and then tell them if it is not right or if it is not something which is suitable. Then lovingly tell them. Like nowadays, I feel even the children, the storybooks that come for children, all these things, all these programs that come, they are very gently, where you want to emphasize on behaviors and things in a very loving, like a joyous storytelling way. Also, you can explain the negatives of what you want to tell them, rather than enforcing. So as parents, you need to stop that. You don't own those children. You have to understand the biggest mistake we make in relationships, whether it is with our partners or with our children or with our friends, is because we feel that now, yeah, I'm married to this person or I have given birth to this child, so this child is mine. They have to follow, listen, breathe, eat according to me. So that's where you need to understand they are a different identity, and you have just been chosen to be the mother of that soul in this, on this in this incarnation. So drop that need to enforce and to say that, okay, so now I am your mother, so you have to hear me, you have to listen to me. That thing is something which children will never listen to. And don't bring them up with that fear, because if they, that's where we shut them up. No, that's what exactly Vinita was talking about. At that age, if we shut them up and we tell them don't speak and just keep quiet and just listen to that, they'll never be expressive. They'll never use that part of their brain where they can also think of something. And if that's why sometimes they become so rebellious, they become so aggressive. They go to other, they use other means to express themselves rather than speaking up, because they know they're not going to be heard. A lot of us say that, na, people who come to me for healing will say, kya faida bolne ka, kisi ne sunna to hai nahi. Then what you just say, I'd rather be quiet than be humiliated and be told to shut up, isn't it? Because that's how we've grown. Nobody has ever told us that what you are saying could also have some value. Same way, tell your children, give them a listening ear and make them come to a point where their opinion also matters. And actually, like maybe, I don't know which exact generation, like all of us here would be of different generations, but in general, like I'm 57 and I know that I changed a lot in the past, say 8, 10 years, and particularly in the last 5 years, uh, with seeing my children and a lot of things that they said, which immediately I would say no to it initially, because it was just the conditioned way that no, how can this happen? And then a lot of times I would reflect on it later on and then say that, yeah, okay, there is some value in this also. Let me be unbiased. Let me not just come from a conditioned way of thinking that no, this can't happen. Okay, you've taken one holiday, now you can't take another holiday. But why? But why? Just because we've thought or we've been living with that thought that, yeah, summer holidays, so one holiday in a year, full stop. 20 years, 25 years, you've lived like that, or maybe even more than that, 30, 40 years, you've lived like that, and now suddenly your children say that, no, we want more than one holiday in a year. And instantly you say, no, but you've had your holiday, right? But why? Why not? They say, like, why not? So I'm just giving you again a very like a very mundane kind of an example, but without thinking, we just respond. We don't really think of that. We just react instantly. But if we just take a pause and say, okay, why not? I mean, yeah, even I can go out. I feel like going for a holiday. Why not? Why can't I go for a holiday? Why does it have to be in a designated, appointed time of the year? I don't feel like going in the summer. I feel like going in winter. So what? So open yourself. Open yourself. Expand yourself to new ideas and honor what your children are saying. And remember, if you want to be heard, you have to give a hearing ear to others.
We say that children come through us, but they don't belong to us. That's a very popular quote, and that's how
And
most
that's the
parents.
that's the toughest thing for a lot of people to think, that they don't belong to us. I mean, even when we say that, it doesn't come very good. Like, you don't feel very comfortable in the body. Can you just
So
read
yeah,
out
so
the
that's why I'm saying that sometimes we, try and explain it to children very nicely, but when they do not listen to us, we have to raise our voice.
well, if you think that by raising your voice they will hear you, um, I'm not very sure about that. That's only doing the thing from fear, isn't it? Raising your voice only creates fear in the child's energy. And if you want to make the child do it with fear, then that's your choice. But I would rather just be quiet at that time and ignore that. With children, I always remember an example. When children are crawling or they're just learning to walk, they put their hand in that socket, in the electrical socket, because they're now able to reach all around. And you will always tell the child, no, don't put your finger in there, don't put your finger in there. And the moment you turn your back, the first thing that the child will do is go back and put the finger in there. So the mind of the child and adults is very difficult. Whatever you say no to is something that the mind always wants to get back to and say, okay, why no? Why no here? So even if you take a child, like if you see a child asking for something or throwing a tantrum, say in the middle of the market, wanting a particular toy or a chocolate or a lollipop, and you keep saying, as much you try to rationalize with that child that your teeth are not okay, you ate a chocolate in the morning, you can't have another one, and suddenly you will feel, oh gosh, this child is just going on crying and shouting, no, 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 no. And you will just either slap the child or get angry with the child. You think the child will hear you, the child will just get fearful and keep quiet. That's all. And you try to explain, but you have lost your cool at that time, isn't it? Instead of that moment when you feel you're really losing it, just keep quiet and turn away. Just turn away. The moment you turn away, the child will follow you. The moment you turn away, the child will follow you. Don't try to explain whether it is a child or an adult. Don't try to explain that this is not okay. Don't do this. Don't keep saying the no word, because that's not healthy at that time. And I don't mean in every situation. Sometimes you may need to, be more strict or enforce something. But even if you're angry, even if you're shouting, even if you're scolding a child, be aware that you're scolding. Don't be consumed by that anger. Watch yourself saying what you're saying. It makes a big difference. Does that make sense, Rachna?
Yes, I get it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think this is so beautiful to watch yourself say what you're saying. I think that's my carry for the day most of the time.
Usually what happens is that we get consumed in that anger, right? Our body starts feeling that anger from inside. It's an ego that says, why is this child not listening? This is my child and he should be listening. It's like, I am the parent, I am the adult, I am the right one, right? So I'm enforcing that. And obviously the child is just crying and lying down on the floor. So just say, okay, I'm sorry, but I cannot give you this at this point, and turn away and walk around. Whatever might be your reason. And then when the child has settled down and in a different way, you can pacify the child and, explain it in a more loving way, give something different, and you'll see that the child will listen.
We have a question on relationship coming here. Should I read it? Or so there's this person, she's saying she's a working professional at a marriageable age, extremely scared of commitment or getting into a relationship because of the chaos she has experienced while growing up. What should she do? And I have not felt validated enough, though I know I have to settle down, but I can't get close to somebody.
Yeah. So there are two things in this. One is fear of commitment for sure. And one is the fear of, not being able to trust anybody or getting close to anybody. And very truly, when you talk about having grown up in an atmosphere where, your parents have not been able to provide you that security or that comfort. And I don't blame them at all, because probably they have been going through whatever they have been going through, and they've tried their best to be the best parents that they could and do for you. These are basically your fears. They are basically your own fears. So deal with them. It's not necessary that commitment or marriage is is bad or negative. There are a lot of positives to that also. But don't think of the other person or marriage or partnership commitment will happen when, like you're bringing in or going into a relationship thinking that it is going to fulfill you, it is going to make you complete. That is a very wrong belief. That is something which I speak from my journey, from my growth, from my understanding, from my healing experiences totally. Get into a commitment when you feel whole and the other person is also whole and complete. Yes, there could be things which are different. There will be a lot of, each one has their own identity. And as we grow older, it becomes more and more difficult to sort of, in a way, adjust to the other person's way of being. But you have to understand that it's an adjustment on both ends. It's an adjustment on both ends. If you say that, okay, only the girls are adjusting and the men aren't, I don't agree to that at all. They're both adjusting, and so is the family if you are in a joint family or anything. But you don't need to be in fear. You're only in fear because there is, you are carrying that past imprint in your subconscious or in your mind, thinking that it's not going to be as good as you would want it to be, or you may not be respected or validated, and that comes from low self-esteem that you are carrying. It has nothing to do with the other person, isn't it? Now, who would need validation? If I know what I'm doing is correct, do I need a validation? It's nice to get a validation, always. It's always nice to get a validation. But do I need a validation to prove myself? What is the reason for that validation? That is what you need to think of and reflect on. So, if that validation is to help you feel more confident about yourself, then again, you have to work more on your own confidence than anything else, no? And nowadays, I see, I even see, like, Vinita and I were talking the other day that even elderly, like not elderly, I mean women who have grown up children who are, living in, say, a nuclear family, and there are men who have different kinds of frustration, and they speak up, they get angry because of their own, say, frustration or illness. And we were talking about a particular family where the gentleman was not well, and he must be in his 60s, and he was not well, and because of his illness and the feeling of failure, because he could not work anymore, he was really frustrated, and he would lash out at his wife, who was nothing. He was just like her. She was a housewife, but doing everything that she could, and he had grown up children in the house. And it was not, it was not okay, because, and just to say that, yeah, he's not well, so I'm just giving in to all of his behaviors. It was not, it's not okay. And like you asked in the beginning, when is it okay to speak? You need to speak up. You can't show your grown up children, whether it is a son or a daughter, that it is okay to be aggressive or to be even verbally abusive to your wife, or to any woman, or to any man for that matter, whichever. That's not done. Just because he's not well, he can behave in any which way. I don't agree to that at all. I don't agree. And we cannot encourage that kind of behavior, because then these are the imprints. Like, I am going back to this because of the question that you read out. These are the imprints that we carry with us, that, it's okay for him to say what he wants to, or he's not well, so he just, shouted, or he abused, or he said whatever he needed to. How much humiliation the other person has to take? You can't take that. That's not respecting yourself. So somewhere we need to know where to draw the line, and step back, like we spoke about boundaries. Step back, so that we're not in that periphery where we can take all this, and that does not mean that if the other person is unwell and needs you around to be a caregiver, that you will just leave the person and go away. No, but you will not take it personally. You understand? It's like, okay, doesn't matter. He can say anything. He can shout at me. He can hit me. He's not well now. He's not in control of his senses. That's not okay. That's not okay to take. But don't take it in a way that he's shouting at you. If he's abusing you verbally, he's not abusing you. He's just abusing. Use your strength and embrace that energy, that strength within you to empower yourself, and not take all that nonsense that is being thrown at you. Again, I'm saying, it's not that you have to say that, retaliate and shout back, and it's not that you have to walk away from that person or that relationship. You have to hang in there, because this is for your growth. This is connecting and growing with that energy within you, to understand that he's shouting, and unfortunately you are in that periphery at the moment, and he's shouting, but he's not shouting at you. He is just shouting. But what do we say? He shouted at me. He abused, or he used these words for me. If he used those words, you don't need to accept them. You go about doing what you need to do. But the moment you take it that he said that to me, that you are not good enough, that means you are agreeing to him, and that's why you are hurt, isn't it? If you know that, okay, he's just saying it because he says it, it's not, I mean, it's nothing personal about me, it will not bother you at all. And that's your growth. It's your ego that gets hurt instantly, because there's an identification with those words, that he is saying it to me. He is just saying it. And anytime where you feel that somebody is getting aggressive or hitting out, you will not allow that. You will just not allow that. Because if you don't put a stop to that, that will only grow. That will only grow. And there is nothing wrong in voicing that. There is nothing wrong in voicing that. If you need to protect yourself and be away from that energy or that space, because you are being physically abused, by all means step away. Do not allow that at all. Even if you need to warn that person, or you need to even report that person, it's okay. Because, and a lot of times we hide these things because we feel, oh, what will the world think? But let the world think whatever. I mean, you'll be murdered tomorrow, and you will just, what does it matter what the world thinks? What will they think then? It's better to speak up now. It's better to speak up now and say, if you feel threatened in any which way. I don't want to take it to that level. I don't want to take the conversation to that level. But yes, if these things are happening in homes, like supposing your maid comes and says, or somebody who works in your home, she comes and says that, last night my husband got drunk and he hit me. What will you tell her? Go and get two more slaps? Or will you support her and tell her that don't allow that? Put yourself in the same way. I mean, I always say this to, families who are so well, affluent. I tell those women, I mean, do you think your husbands are like rickshaw pullers and they are all drunk and dead at the end of the day and they can just come and verbally, physically abuse you? No, step up. Do not allow that to happen to you. Use that energy and strength there. Even if you need to shut yourself in another room or whatever, just do that. You need to call out to somebody for help, just do that. There's nothing to feel ashamed in that at all. I mean, if something like that, God forbid, were to happen to your known, somebody like who's a daughter or a child to you, would you not protect and tell her to protect herself, or him for that matter to protect himself? Of course, you will do the same for yourself. You have all the power within you. Don't think I can't because, like, how can I help it? How can I do it? Then he'll get angry, he'll leave me, he'll walk away. Yeah, he'd rather leave you and walk away than to behave like this. He doesn't deserve you. You deserve much better than him or her, isn't it? I don't know if I've taken it on a different tangent, but I truly, truly believe this. I truly believe every word of what I'm saying. And I don't mean that we need to be aggressive. I don't mean at all that you need to be aggressive. At that moment, if you feel things are getting out of control, just step away. And you can never heal that relationship with aggression or with anger or by walking out of that relationship. Work on yourself to see what is it in you that is attracting this aggressive partner. Because if you don't heal yourself at that time and you walk away, you will find somebody else in your life who will be abusing you and shouting at you and hitting out at you. So grow yourself. The only way the other person who is shouting and abusing can be healed is with love, not with anything else. And that love is there within you. That Shakti is there within you. Embrace that. Use that strength of love. Don't feel that that love will be, will be taken advantage of. That's not true. The person who is shouting and screaming, when you are shouting at your child, you know that, you're not doing the right thing. Right thing as in the right behavior. You can do that in a more gentler way. Similarly, the other person who's shouting and screaming knows, a part of him or her knows that they're not behaving in the so-called right way. Because at that time, like I said, they're totally consumed by that anger, isn't it? So first, center yourself, come into a space where you can understand and support the other person when they are in a better frame of mind. At that moment, you will not be heard. Nobody will listen to you. So coming back to the question, I'm sorry I went a little off track. Coming back to that question, don't be in fear of commitment or relationships just because you have seen something in your past. Work on yourself, seek counseling, seek healing, dissolve your fears. If you get into a relationship with fears thinking that, yeah, this is going to only put me down, then you will attract only that. But if you look at it going into a relationship as equals, which is how the generation now really looks at relationships. In fact, they teach us this, don't they? Then it's a wonderful thing to be committed in a relationship. Why not? So, firstly, deal with your fears, whatever is your past that has been imprinted, and just know that it's all over. Something that happened maybe in your childhood, it's not necessary that you also have to go through it. You come into a space of awareness because this is your time to grow energetically and spiritually, emotionally and mentally. You are aware that these are the things that could happen in relationships, but that does not mean that you need to be in a fear. You need to say that, okay, I mean, how can the fear get the better of me? I can be in awareness. So if something my partner says which is not very, healthy or not very, say, comfortable, I don't need to snap back at him just to prove myself right or tell him that this is not the way to behave. I can just be quiet and walk away at that time. And at a later point, sit and discuss. And believe me, you will be heard. I can assure you, you will be heard. So, firstly, work on yourself to dissolve that fear of commitment, dissolve that overall fear that you hold in relationships, and see how beautiful it is. Whichever kind of relationship you want to be in, once you go in with love and not with fear, you will see that that's all that the relationship and actually life and you are. You're only that love and nothing else. But connect to that loving energy within you. Rise above the lower chakras where we are caught in fears and anxieties, and start living from a space of unconditional love, but with full awareness. It may sound very simple, and you might say that no, it's not so simple, but really it is. Just before this talk, we were having an introduction to the 7-week program that I do, and it's really about growing out of the third dimension where we are living in fear and coming into a space of love and operating from a space of love. The words you use, the thoughts you think, the reactions you give, bring them into a space where you don't come from a space of fear, only operate from a space of love. You will 100% be heard. Even if you're getting angry, even if you're scolding somebody, do it with love, not with aggression, not with fear. Does that answer the question? Unmute, Vinita. Unmute yourself.
See, I have a very personal thing to say here, as in like putting the question, reading the question that I think the mother also has to have a role play there, because children usually see the how the mother is behaving, and knowingly or unknowingly they absorb that, you know. So maybe, I mean, whosoever the person is, I mean, of course, I don't want to. So
That's
they have to get together to show that strength of being together and give encouragement to each other that we are there, at the back. You know, we
absolutely.
can.
Absolutely. And that's why these groups that we have, the programs that we do, the talks that we do, are only to empower you. Are only to empower you because you have that strength within you. And the validation that you're seeking from outside, start giving yourself. Or, if you want to work on your confidence, on your self-esteem, know that you can do it. Know that you can do it. I was asked this question about 15 years back. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 about on your self-esteem? I did not even know what it meant. I did not know the difference between self-esteem and self-confidence, and I'm not ashamed to say it here at all. I felt self esteem is what? Self confidence, but that's not true. Self confidence is how you put yourself out. And I'm not judging any of you because I didn't know it. I couldn't say what my self esteem was. Self esteem, I mean, of course, I'm sure most of you here would understand and know that self esteem is about how confident or how what you feel about yourself, how good you feel about yourself. Whereas self confidence is how you put yourself out. So you may be standing on a stage and addressing 100 people and getting all that applause, but internally you feel horrible about yourself and about your life. There's a vast difference, and over these years working with people, I have seen that you may appear as a very confident person, but you may not be having a good self-esteem. So work on your own self, on your self-esteem. See the good in yourself, acknowledge yourself, pat yourself on your back. Don't wait for people outside to come and validate yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, wow, you're so beautiful. You did this so good, so well. Even if small jobs you accomplish, tell yourself, excellent, you finished this, and what a wonderful job. So many times when I finish a talk, I really feel that I've been able to get across to the people. I look at myself and I really feel happy about it, that wow, I could really get it across. I don't want people to send messages to me and say that yeah, it was a wonderful talk. Of course that feels good, but I would not wait for that to appreciate what I have done, isn't it? And sometimes when I feel that, okay, here, I could have, bought in this point, or I should have added this, I stop myself instantly. If I would have remembered at that time, of course I would have done it. But I'm giving my 100% here. I know I'm giving my 100% here. Even if there have been talks where it has been much, much better, and there might be speakers who are so brilliant talking about the same topic, I agree that there might be, but I'm doing my best, and you are here listening to me, and you are doing your best by absorbing and listening to that. So pat yourself on your back, validate yourself more than anybody else, and just remind me, Vinita, what you had spoken, that I was going to share something, it slipped my mind.
I was talking about, the mother, and they have to get
Yeah,
together.
sorry. So I was saying, thanks. I was saying that your body language is more important than your words. If you are trembling and shivering and you're telling your child, don't feel scared, your child has an exam, and you are totally anxious about it and nervous about it, and you are like just trying to distract yourself, and you are carrying all that anxiety, and you're trying to tell your child it's okay, it's only an exam, but you have all those butterflies in your stomach, the child will sense your body language more than anything else. And really, the child may not be as fearful as you're thinking he or she is. You are more fearful about the exam. So, yes, and that's when I go back to what I said, don't get caught in that emotion. Don't become one with that emotion of fear. Okay, fear is happening, churning is happening. It is something that is happening in the body. It's a sensation or a palpitation in your chest or a churning in your stomach. But there is a bigger awareness within you, which is different from that, isn't it? Connect to that. Watch all that happening in your body. Disidentify from that. Step back and disidentify from that emotion. Don't let that emotion get the better of you. And yes, like Vinita was saying, children are definitely watching you. They are watching your body language all the time. What is it that you're doing? How you are behaving? And that is what they are carrying more than just your words. Sometimes our words are so enforcing that children don't want to hear it. It's like every day you're telling your child, get up, do this, do that. All the time it's like, you're always telling, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to make them participate. And now I see the generation now, how they're bringing up the children is very, very different as we brought up our children. But again, we did our best. That's the best that we knew. So honor everybody for who they are, including yourself. Respect them. Whatever they are saying, there is some value. And if you feel no, it is not important, dismiss it. But don't dismiss the person, or don't say it. So whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, I go back to saying, reflect and think what I'm saying. Is this going to make me feel expanded? Is it going to make the other person feel good? Or is it going to make the other person feel bad? Or is it going to constrict me? Then you'd rather not say that. Are you saying it to the other person to make him or her feel bad? Then you're only operating from your ego. But if you believe that, yes, the other person might not like it, but it is important for them to hear, then you will not say it with that aggression. You will say it from a deeper space of awareness and with love. Even if it is loud, it is coming from a space of love. Then you will be heard. So bring in that awareness, bring in that presence, and then say what you want to say. But first, believe in yourself, believe in what you're saying. Don't say it just because those are the things that have always been said. Use your own awareness, use your own mind for this. Does that make sense? And you have that power, that strength within you to exercise that choice. Sorry. What you should be doing, or what you should be saying or not saying. So exercise, bring yourself to that level of awareness where you know what you're speaking and you're not speaking mindlessly. Then there is no difference between the person who's shouting and abusing and you, isn't it? So learn to build those healthy boundaries and move out of that space if you're feeling that it is becoming too toxic. When I say move out, I don't mean pack your bags and end the relationship. Move away from that toxicity for the time being, as much as you can. And slowly try to heal that toxicity, fill it with love. Everything can be healed with love. Everything can be healed with love. But be aware, be more vigilant, understand what is happening and exercise your choice. Wait for the right moment. You'll be told, you'll feel it inside you. And really, if you feel that I don't know how to do these things, just pray for it. Just put it out in your prayers. God, help me to do this. Help me to exercise this. I don't want to lose this relationship. Help me to grow in this relationship. Help me to help the other person grow in this relationship. Come from a space of genuine love and offer and ask. And believe me, you'll be heard, because prayers are always answered. Reach out, seek out to somebody who can guide you, some counseling, some healing, some energetic shifts, all the work that I do and so many people around do now. Use all this energy around and within you to help you to grow. And believe me, you will be able to grow. I'm enforcing this because I do not mean that this Shakti or this power within you you should be using it in an aggressive way. For me, this power is only the power of love, unconditional love that each one of you present here have within you. And in fact, the other person who is triggering you, or who you feel is harming you, you're feeling threatened with, is abusing you, that person is also nothing but unconditional love. But first connect to yourself, and then your presence will radiate that love. And everybody, each one of you are here, we are always needy for love, isn't it? We always want more hugs, we always want more love. Who would say, no, I don't want love, I have enough love in my life? Yes, we have, but we always are open to more, isn't it? So when you heal, when you come in with the presence of love, an essence of love, that is who you truly are, then you will see how the other person will also open up to that, because deep inside they too are that, isn't it?
See, would you want to add about inner child healing? Because it gets into like a trauma thing, you know, the childhood wounds and all we've seen.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to go into that, because whether it is inner child healing, whether it is Reiki, whether it is spiritual response therapy, where we go into the deep inner child work with the pendulum, or it is breath work, past life regression, all these things help you to go back to that and heal yourself. That's what I'm saying, that seek out and reach out, because sometimes the child carries that wound. How does the child carry that wound? There was an argument, the parents were shouting, and the child got scared, right? And the child got that imprint of fear to when he or she asked for something which probably the parents could not provide for. And at that young age, the child was not emotionally grown enough to handle that emotion. And unfortunately, the parents were also not aware that they needed to heal or help that child at that time. But as you grow above. But that inability to deal with that emotional, whatever you felt at that time, that emotional charge still carries within you somewhere. And when you hear somebody shouting outside, suddenly that whole fear comes in and gets more and more sort of aggravated or solidified in your life. And sometimes you don't understand, I'm an adult and somebody is shouting, why am I feeling a fear? The fear is felt by that little child who still got blocked at that young age, whatever it was, 2 3 4, even till the age of 14 15, we feel those fears within us, or we carry those imprints. But they can be totally healed by all these modalities. But I feel bigger than that is your own awareness, your own wisdom, and understand, okay, that is something that happened, it's in the past. Let me now help myself. And yes, use tapping, use Reiki, use inner child healing, use breath work, reach out to people who do that, and you'll see that how those energetic imprints can be totally wiped off. That's what I was even talking about in my program, the 7-week program, which I'm starting from Thursday. So if any of you who missed the morning talk and want to know about it, just feel free to reach out to me or to Sushti and Tanvi, and we'll send you a recording of that. So just reach out to somebody who can mentor you, who can hold your hand, and yet connect you to your strength. Not get dependent on anybody. Sometimes we get too dependent on these modalities. That's not what is my focus. My focus is to connect you to the potential that you have within you through even all these modalities, because I practice all of them. But to connect you to your inner strength, that infinite potentiality that exists within each one of you. Call it Shakti, call it strength, call it your highest potential. And you can connect to that and grow from that and just make this life, which is so beautiful, just allow yourself to grow beautifully in this life, because you are, like I always say in my Reiki seminars and otherwise also, you are a blessed child of the universe, of God. So honor yourself and know that you are a blessed child, and grace is always with you, God is always with you, universe is always with you. Just ask if you're feeling a little lost or unsure at any point. Enough for today. Thank you for joining in, listening in. Put your questions out. Write to Vinita, write to me, write to Srishti, Tanvi, or just on the group. And just don't hesitate. Don't let anything pull you down. You're just best I mean, you're just beautiful and best as you are. Just love yourself, because I love you all. So thank
Love
you
you.
and God bless you.
Thank you, Reese. Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much for
Love you
joining.
all. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sujata. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.